let's start the second half with Aaron, everybody. Let's welcome Aaron to the stage.
So it's 5 in the morning, I'm in Newark Airport, and I'm standing right in front of the waiting area, and every time the doors open and shut to the waiting area, I can see my dad on the other side. And my dad is kind of rocking from side to side, shifting his weight from one foot to the other, the way he always does when he's waiting. And he's waiting for me, his 18-year-old son, to cross through the doors. But I can't do it, because the moment I walk through the doors, my year of freedom is over. About a week prior, I'm in a 70s-era Mercedes-Benz taxi, racing through the night through the Sinai Peninsula, racing away from my closest friends, to Jerusalem and to Australian Emily. I had met her the last night on kibbutz, that I was living on a kibbutz in the north. It was the last night on kibbutz. Last night on kibbutz is sort of like the last night of summer camp. There's no rules and kind of weird stuff happens, and I had been staring at Emily for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and finally I got the nerve to pull her out of the disco, which was like a barn with like techno music pumping in it. And I pulled her out of the disco, and we were in the night, and she kissed me, and I smelled the perfume of her hair mingle with the smell of fresh cow shit from the dairy. It was erotic and disgusting, like all good first kisses. And so the next day she moved to Jerusalem, and I went to the Sinai, and then I realized I had to see Emily one more time. So I raced through the night, I show up in Jerusalem, it's dawn, and I have one problem with my plan. The problem is it's 1994 and there's no cell phones and she has no idea that I'm coming. And she has a boyfriend, but her boyfriend's in the army and he's probably not around and that'll be okay. And I'm not really sure where she lives, but I know that she sort of lives in this like student ghetto that overlooks the old city of Jerusalem. So I take a cab there and I wander around and finally I see an Australian flag hanging from the first floor window of a building, and I realize it's got to be Australian Emily. And I knock on the door. Yeah, I mean, who else would it be? I knock on the door, and I knock again, and the door opens, and she kind of squints at me, and I'm not sure if she's squinting at my face or the hour or whatever, and I say, hi, and she says the 3 greatest words I've ever heard in my life. She says, come to bed. And so I do. And we spend every second of the next week together. We wake up every morning very early. We go to the market. We buy hummus and pita and olives, and we munch them walking through the old city of Jerusalem. And forget Paris. If you want to fall in love, go to Jerusalem. Nowhere else in the world can you have 3,000 years of pain and history and like weird religious torture hang in the balance of every kiss. You know, it's like that's the church that Jesus was tortured in. Let's be in love. And so we decided to be in love. And then Saturday night came around, and I was dreading Saturday night, and while she was in the shower, I slipped out and I went down to the corner to the payphone and I made a collect call to Teaneck, New Jersey, and I said, Dad, I've fallen in love. I'm not coming home. I'm staying in Israel. And he said, you're coming home. Your brother needs you. Sorry, I'll see you tomorrow. And I go back to Emily's room, and she could see something in my face has changed. And she says, what's the matter? And I want to say that what's the matter is that my brother has cerebral palsy, and he's going to have this horrific surgery in which the bones of his legs are going to be sliced in half and then reset so that he has a chance of standing tall in his life. And I want to tell her that because of that, I have to go and be there for him, and because of that, I have to leave tomorrow. But if I tell her that, then my year of freedom and perfection will end in 24 hours of pain and responsibility, and I couldn't deal with it. So I said, couldn't change my flight, gotta leave tomorrow, sorry. And she was upset, but she was okay with it, and we stayed up the whole night talking and stuff, and then she walked me to the bus station, and I got on a plane and said goodbye to Emily. I never saw her again in my life. And 15 hours later, I'm in Newark Airport, and I'm watching my dad sway from side to side. And he's swaying because he practices, for as long as I've been alive, he practices Tai Chi Chuan, the Chinese martial art. And Tai Chi has this principle that you achieve balance by being fluid. By shifting your weight from one side to the other side, you become like a pendulum. And like becoming a pendulum, you master gravity. And if you're still and straight and stiff, you can be pushed over, but if you're fluid and shifting and moving, you're in balance. And he stops just long enough to take my bags from me, and he hugs me, and the minute he hugs me, I burst into tears. And I'm not crying because of Emily, and I'm not crying because of my brother, though I probably should be, but I'm crying because my pendulum has just swung from freedom and happiness and joy and love to pain and suffering and responsibility and family. And the Tai Chi master, and the Tai Chi master will tell me that it's that way that my life will achieve balance. Well, it's swung dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of times since then and before that time. And I'm 34 years old. I'm not sure if I've ever felt balance, but at least I'm beginning to describe the arc.
Wolfe, everybody.